Well, welcome to day 2 of racing here at the Hi-Tec Oils Super Series from Winton Motor Raceway, where the sun gods have absolutely blessed us. Jared, it's a fantastic day here. The sun is out, it's warm, and we're about to go racing.
Yeah, yesterday we hit temperatures of around 35 degrees. Today, looking only around 31, but still brutal for some of the drivers in some of the categories here. And hasn't the action been hot?
We welcome Innovation Race Cars onto the calendar here for 2025 as well, and they put some fantastic racing on. Jeff Emery's been super dominant when it came to qualifying. Faster there. Danny Studdett's had a couple of moments there where there's been a bit of damage. They've been bumping and shoving. It's a fantastic new category.
Man, let's talk about TA2. They've run a second qualifying session here today and some big shake-ups.
Well, Jared Hughes has been super dominant, hasn't he, in day number 1 of racing. We saw him qualify number 1, win both races, but today he's a couple of tenths behind Gomersol, who took the number 1 position in the qualifying session number 2. And Brad Gardner, well, he's in 3rd, so he's starting to improve in the Hi-Tec Oils crew. They're starting to get a handle on this new tyre.
Yeah, 100%. We obviously are starting to see everyone using their entire tyre allocation, but that has been the topic on everyone's lips. Lap times still been pretty good, again, considering track temps and ambient temps.
Well, let's go and catch up with some of our TA2 drivers now with Mel Price.
Our first place rookie and new to the category this weekend, P4, Diesel, well done.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm absolutely stoked to walk away with P4 after qualifying 2. We had a pretty rough day 1 with qualifying P8, and then race 1 went off the track, so we had to reset, and we knew today was coming, so I had to reset, come into qualifying, and P4, I'm absolutely happy to come.
And more importantly, you've got family bragging rights because you're in front of your brother.
Oh, absolutely. I'll be feeding it to him for the rest of the day.
So what can you do from here?
I'll try to get away with a clean start, try and stick with Brad through it, and then try and get into a rhythm and just keep going from there.
Over to you, J-Mac. Thanks.
Here with our pole man, Ben Gomersol. The second qualifying session was good too. Jared Hughes was 2 tenths off. The unit Mustang has been a weapon all weekend long. How are you feeling?
No, really good. Yeah, quali was mega. I just managed to pip Jared there today, so he's had really good speed all weekend. So no, it means a lot to the team to get this result, and hopefully we can back it up for 2 races today.
Many changes between the setup from yesterday and coming into racing today?
Yeah, look, we knew we had a bit of work to do overnight. We've been slowly chipping away at it all weekend, so I feel like we're in a pretty good spot at the moment, and yeah, should have some good pace.
Well, we are looking forward to the competition. Mel, you're further down the grid.
Cameron Laws, you made a late charge in race 2 yesterday and picked up a few spots. Is that the plan again today?
Yeah, I'd like to move up a few positions, hopefully aim to get in the top 3 and just hopefully have a good day.
Well, you've had a pretty fast qualifying this morning.
Yeah, the car felt really good. Team's done an awesome job to get the car ready, and I can't thank them enough.
Fantastic. Well, we are hoping to watch you plough through then.
Thank you.
Jared Hughes starting off P2, and you were dominant yesterday, but slightly slower in the pace. You managed to keep the aggressors at bay, but the gap wasn't as big at the end of race 2 yesterday.
No, yesterday we had a good start again, but unfortunately we had one of the bolts come loose in the gearbox and started smoking in the cabin. So I thought I'd back it off a little bit and make sure we limp it back home. But yeah, this morning I think we still had a lot of pace. Just unfortunately got caught in a lot of traffic at the start where you're going to put your fastest time down. So pretty happy to still be only 10th off after, 2 tenths, sorry, after going for another run. But yeah, see how this one goes, eh?
What's the tyre rack looking like at the moment?
They're round, they're black, and hopefully they'll be all right. No, I don't know. I think we've done a good job of looking after them. Laurie's been on the tyre treatment and just trying to think about what we can do to be better. But yeah, no, let's see how they go this one, eh? How's your tyres?
My tyres, they're black and they're round and they're back home in WA. Well, Brad Gardner found some pace in the second session of qualifying in the Hi-Tec Oils number 22 machine coming into this upcoming race, starting from the second row. That run into turn 1 gets fairly hairy sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it sure does. I think we'll just try and hold our position through turn 1, 2, I think. Yeah, I think we'll come out in top 3 after turn 4, be happy.
TFH right off your right-hand shoulder. Are we going to see the elbows out?
No, I think had a good chat with Diesel. He's young, he's doing a really nice job. So I think we'll just, yeah, like I said, just get through clean and worry about it the rest of the race.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Best of luck.
Cheers, guys.
And he'll start down the field today, headed by Ben Gomersol and Jared Hughes. We switch around the front row from yesterday. Brad Gardner and Diesel Thomas on the second row. Josh Webster and Cameron Laws on the star rookies this year, drove from 20th inside the top 10 yesterday. Josh Thomas and Mark Crutcher. James Simpson and Graham Cheney in the IES Motorsport car starts out at 10. Domain Ramsey starts out of 11 today with Des Collier from 12. Far from 13th alongside Mark Bailey. Hayden Jackson, Danny Reedy out of 16. Michael Coulter out of 17. Kiaris Abatakis The lone female, the first female in TA2 muscle car starts out of 18. And Paul Hadley, who was hurriedly getting that car to the grid, they had no brake rotors on that car as late as 12 o'clock trying to get that car back out onto the track for this race today. But he's scheduled to start from 19th.
And let's get this underway. Let's see how we're going to go into turn number 1. I know Brad Gardner, the aggression seemed to be there in qualifying. He didn't have that yesterday with what we saw with the attitude of the car. How aggressive will he be into turn 1?
We look from Josh Thomas's 169 Ford Mustang from a bit down the field, out of 7th position, following the grid boxes, waiting for the lights to go out in race 3 of round 1 of the TFHI and TA2 muscle cars. Beautiful start from the front 2 rows. Almost in sync on the way down to turn number 1. Hughes sweeps across Gomersall to take the early race lead. Diesel Thomas up the inside here on the Hi-Tec Oil Chevy Camaro. Almost snapped sideways, almost lost the car, gathers it up and tucks in behind. Gardner off the background is Mark Bailey, arriving like a sprint car in the Jack's Tire and Auto Service car, and everyone avoids him. How?
I don't think there was any panels actually touched anyone. I thought he was going to back that car in the middle of the field coming around. Robbie Farr's done really well to get around him. Domain Ramsey, Mark Bailey, super aggressive, drops that wheel on the outside. Let's get back though to our race leaders, and Brad Gardner looking for anything as Diesel Thomas now having to worry about Laws, who's right behind him.
The cars have got away. I'm just looking out the window here at turn 2 and 3, so the race will stay alive. In car with Gardner around the gum tree for the first time as he's harassing the TFH car. It's gone around. So Diesel Thomas is around. Can't tell if there was assistance, but all that good work in qualifying is watching him drop down the totem now. So it didn't take long for the action to unfold. 2 incidents on the first lap, and they're going to call the safety car. And probably going to help calm the nerves, because that lose for Mark Bailey. He was sideways going past our commentary position. And the Hi-Tec Oils replay will show it. Watch the background. In fact, he was squeezed by Crutcher this time. So Crutcher was moving over, and Bailey's cat-like reflex sent him to the gravel. And well done to everybody. Look at Robbie Farr, lucky not to drill the back of the yellow Chevy Camaro. James Simpson drives away. Paul Hadley does the same. The second the IES car, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, it's really from this point of view to Cameron Laws. I don't know if he did. I mean, he's just turned around. It's a big moment under brakes. The tyres are still relatively cool, and we've talked about the new tyre and the warm-up procedures a little bit different to what they're used to as well. So maybe not a temp, maybe he got a touch. We'll have to see what the race control think about that.
We'll stay in car with Gardner, who's in 3rd position. One of 2 Hi-Tec Oil Chevy Camaros. As he sits patiently, waiting for the race to go back to green. Headed by Jared Hughes.
A little bit of confidence there from Jared, isn't there? Just take that dive down the inside on the start and just dominate himself. It's going to be about track position, I think, between these top 3 drivers. They are so closely matched. We see the qualifying times. As the green flag comes out and we are back underway with racing, let's see if we can get a full lap in to start this off. Race number 3 here for the weekend. The TFHI TA2 muscle cars presented by Maritimo. And Hughes just with that outright pace. Look, he's already opened up half a second in the first 2 corners.
He's very confident on tyres that aren't up to operating temperature at the moment. That's the key with this one-mate tyre brand. If you can get that margin straight away, which is half a second, and build on it, it really makes the race a lot easier. Gomersall, Gardner, Laws all in tow through this long, ongoing turn 5, and a quick change of direction here at 6. And up to turn 7, it was really treacherous in qualifying in the earlier races yesterday. Crutcher on the back of Cheney. This is Hayden Jackson in the Dodge Challenger on Des Collier. Now he tucks in behind around the gum tree of this Winton Motor Raceway. So timed races, of which this was 22 minutes today. Down the short straight to turn 10 with Simpson. Gomersall trying to stay with him. Remember, Hughes yesterday, 2 big margins in those victories. Getting him the chocolates in both the races yesterday, and a handy start to his TA2 Muscle Car Series campaign in 25.
Diesel Thomas starts to try and make up some of that ground that he lost back to 15th position, already pushing his way now into 13th as he goes past Simpson there at the moment. Now have a look, Hayden Jackson's another one I want to watch this weekend. He's already had a DNF here. He didn't do a lot of laps in qualifying either, so he's probably got the best tyre bank out of anyone out there.
Yeah, good point. They've spent more time probably sitting in the sun than they have on the car over the last couple of days, so he'll try and right the wrongs of a tough weekend in the 81. Meantime, back at the front, 2 stars that you're watching in Super 2 in 2025. Hughes, who will step into the Erebus Motorsport team later in the year with Jack LeBrock in the endurance races, has cut plenty of laps around this historical venue that opened back in 1961. We're a couple of hours to the north of Melbourne. It's great to get this series underway for 2025 as we work our way through turn 7 and this change of direction around the Gumtree again. So Hughes and Gomersall just easing away from Gardner, who runs in 3rd position. Laws and Webster, who scored 2 top 3 finishes yesterday, is in 5th spot. Good run to Graham Cheney. Won both the Masters class races yesterday. That's for drivers over 45. And James Simpson's had an off here, judging by the amount of dust and dirt on his number 2 Dodge Challenger. Get the feeling that's through turn 5, don't you?
It's got to be down there, or turn 7. That's been where a lot of them have been coming off across all of our categories here this weekend. Brad Gardner, he's really looks like he's just he's struggling to maintain that pace of the leaders at the moment. He looks like he's running the car right on the edge of its performance at the moment, and the other 2 just seem to be looking fairly casual out in front. I know they're not when they're behind the seat, they're really pushing on, but you can just see the attitude of the car, those that are trying to stretch the limits of what it can do, and those that are just very comfortable with how they're feeling behind the wheel. Just watching him further down the pack, I mean, Diesel Thomas now up to 12th behind his teammate Des Collier, and Hayden Jackson just in front for the 10th position. So watch them 3. If they can stick together, they could make an impact in the back of the field.
Hearing from the pits that James Simpson had a flat battery at the start of the race. They pushed him away to get him going, so he doesn't want to have it off and stop. That car won't start again if that happens. So Hughes up on the curb at turn 7. Gomersall going with him today. This is good to see from the son of Jason Gomersall that I bumped into the pits just before. He's smiling, and rightly so. It's been a great week with that podium result in Sydney last weekend in Super 2. Pole position earlier today in the 2nd qualifying session. Has really adapted to this TA2 muscle car category very quickly.
Just run the fastest first sector too. We're talking 500ths of a second faster, so him and Jared Hughes very evenly matched. It'll be interesting through this middle sector. Looks like Hughes might have him there. So these 2 are going to really battle it out, I think, over this duration of this race. 22 minutes plus the final laps there to go as well. So that's going to be interesting to see how they use the tyres throughout this. Let's head down to the pit lane though with Mel.
Well, we saw Mark Bailey make an early outing from this race. I'm here with his crew chief, PC. I did say, have you heard from him and do you know what happened? To which he smiled and said, yes, I do.
Hi. Look, we qualified poorly due to a small car issue. We then find ourselves maybe further down in the pack than when we currently would run. And Mark just trying to make a move and get up the inside there. And gain a few positions off the start to position ourselves for the race. So look, for me, it's a racing incident, and there's a bit of disparity, obviously, amongst drivers from the front of the grid to the rear in any class or category. And so let's just put it down as a racing incident and move forward.
Well, he'll be doing the same thing again in the next one, won't he?
Yeah, we will be, and hopefully with a little bit more luck and a little bit more room.
Thank you.
So the 12 out of today's event, or at least this race anyway, for Mark Bailey. James Simpson has also gone back into the pits in car number 2. So a couple of casualties early in this race. 12.5 minutes remain. Hughes and Gomersall 2 seconds up the road now from Brad Gardner. There is the number 2 car. Give that car a wash, I think, before race number 4. Certainly had a day out in just the first few laps of this 3rd race. Great to have him back in a muscle car after a big crash a couple of seasons back. They rebuilt that car in 4 weeks to be ready to go racing. And the team based out of the Gold Coast looking to do the entire series in 2025. As up past the Old Main Straight we go into another lap. 1:26.3, the quickest lap so far of the race. Yesterday in this same race was 1:26.0 for Jared Hughes. So we're looking again, and that's probably a bit more of a look on the contact with Thomas. You can see the 29 was into the back, but hard to see if it was enough there. Race control just wanting to observe that one more time on Cameron Laws, who was in the wars yesterday with that moment with Graham Cheney down at the second last turn. He was ultimately disqualified from that race for a technical breach at the end. He'd been given a penalty on top of it, just ended up being a really bad day out, but the second race drove himself nicely up to the back of the top 10. Runs in 4th position with Webster, Thomas, Josh Thomas, who are in car with now, the TFH Racing Mustang. Into turn 10 he goes. More than 90-degree left-hand in this one. And back up to finish another lap. Ramsey still in 9th position with Cruncher just ahead. Hayden Jackson in the top 10. Reward for effort for that hard-working team. We've been in the wars since Friday morning here at Winton Motor Raceway.
Cameron Laws now. He's got Webster all over the back and having a look down the outside. Now he's going to poke his nose. But look at the drive he's got out of that final corner down the main straight. Webster not able to do anything with it as Josh Thomas just in the back there at 169. And while this battle continues on track, let's head down to pit lane with J-Mac.
Race, and Hayden Jackson was late to the grid after the team had to change a faulty starter motor, and then to add insult to injury, there was problems with the brake master cylinder. So it is shaping up to be a very tough start to 2025.
That car's going to need a complete overhaul for the next round.
We spoke about how much they've done to Brad Gardner's car. I think they've done that at the track this weekend for Hayden Jackson, unfortunately.
You know, when you start hearing electrical dramas with a car at the start of a weekend, you know it's just going to be a tough, doesn't matter where you look. And you'll get back to the workshop sometime during the week and go, oh, there it is. It was a crimped cable from the door shutting on it. Yeah. That you didn't pick up on. Frustrating game, isn't it, at times? Meantime, here's Laws and Webster.
Look at where Webster's positioning himself on the track, trying to get the maximum drive out of the corners, come out a little bit wider as Laws just tries to defend him away. At the moment, the 29, they seem to have some straight line pace. There's a big dive underneath. Webster will go up the inside, uses a fair bit of curb on that one, but the Autofix number 200 out of Tasmania, he slides it onto the main straight. We say that, but he holds onto that position, and now it's going to be up to Josh Thomas to see if he wants to try and make that same move.
Topping speeds of nearly 200 kilometres an hour at the start-finish line. Good move, textbook move down here at turn 11. You've got to turn it back to the middle of the road there to stop the over-under effect from the driver behind. But he's got it done. Gets himself now up into 4th position. In car with Josh Thomas. Working that steering wheel quite hard through this first set of turns. The TFH Mustang running back now in position number 6. Haven't they invested a lot in here? Brett Thomas and his business, TFH Hire, that have been working in all kinds of motorsport now for several years. Himself a former racer. Brett Thomas in Speedway and speed cars. Is that Webster running wide? We caught it. Oh no, Hayden Jackson. Oh boy, what can you say? He's off the track, and what concerns me is there's a flame underneath there, and it's a very dry outfield at Winton Motor Raceway. A top 10 result has gone once again for the hapless, luckless team. They'll need to get onto that pretty quickly. That's starting to fire nicely on the infield. The safety car is going to be called to allow our fire crew to get over there and capture that before it really gets out of control. You and I have been to Darwin enough over the years. It's the kind of conditions we see there when cars get off on the infield. Very dry conditions.
Especially when they head up there during the dry season, that's right. And if the grass, even though they mow it very, very short, these cars low to the ground, all it takes is a little divot and the exhaust hanging a little bit low. And you can see that hopefully it looks like it's just a heat fire under there that's caused something to ignite in the grass. Hopefully it's not something on the car. It's just an unfortunate effect of the car coming off and being undrivable on the inside of the track. But our crew's there very, very quickly. You can see them underneath trying to extinguish whatever that is our Hyundai safety car is out on track once again here in the TFH TA2 muscle car presented by Maritimo. We're going to have a short break and be back. Plenty more action here at the Hi-Tec Oil Super Series.
Winton Motor Raceway and day number 2, the Hi-Tec Oil Super Series. The season opener for 2025, first of our 2 stops at this Benalla venue.
Brad Gardner in the Hi-Tec Oils 22. He'll try and get closer to the unit racing entry of Gomersall, and right behind Webster too. Cameron Laws in 5th. Look at the top 5 as they go into turn number 1. Who is going to be the one to put the nose out, maybe have a dive down the inside? Time running out of this race with just over 2 minutes remaining.
He's left the field in his wake, hasn't he, Hughes? There was a big gap between some of those cars further back. And Hughes leads us in, albeit slightly sideways through turn 1. And up through the hill, which is quite steep when you hear at track level at Winton Motor Raceway. So he goes back into the lead here. Here's Diesel Thomas. Phantom move on the 71. He came in a little hot, so he's hungry to get back towards the front in that number 18 Ford Mustang.
And ran out of breath for a moment there. I thought it was going to be a big dive, and Domain Ramsey's been on the back end of some bad luck as well this weekend. Like we say, had that diff issue there yesterday after causing a little bit of contact from people from behind him, not part of his own fault. So, you know, he's been off the track. He's had the car turned around, so I'm hoping Diesel Thomas can make that move a little bit somewhere else where it's not going to cause an issue. Have a look at Brad Gardner, though. He's catching up to Gomersall at the moment, whereas Jared Hughes has opened up a gap of almost 1 second, and the 22 machine maybe just not taking the same line through that turn number 9, and it really seemed to hurt him on the drive down to 10.
In car with Gardner down at turn 10. This car looks way better than yesterday. It was really, really awkward during qualifying, and he self-admitted he struggled to get back into it after not driving since Adelaide. A lot of the other drivers around have been in various cars during the summer break, and the earliest start, it feels like we start earlier every year in Australian motorsport. We used to have a fairly lengthy break, but it seems like we're starting a couple of days after Christmas. That's how it feels. It's usually still a month or so, but early February seems to be the order of the day to go racing Australia-wide. As Hughes goes up the hill, Gomersall sliding, so too is Webster. There's Laws with Josh Thomas just behind. Graham Cheney once again leading the Masters class. That's for drivers over 45 years of age. And the leading rookie, Cam Laws, just ahead.
Brett Gardner will be looking at that tyre barrier coming out of 2 a couple of years ago in the opening round. He managed to put the car in that tyre barrier, and you see he wasn't keen to slide the car out. Starting well with Josh Thomas, so you can see how much they're trying to manhandle these cars at the moment, as the temperatures are still nice and high at the moment. But Laws, yes, he ends up turning around in turn number 7, just goes to the outside there where there's probably a lot of pebbles starting to come out on that outside bit. Wow, that nearly caused, what a way to rejoin. Probably not the safest. Let's have a look at the Hi-Tec Oils replay. Yeah, it's the curb we've seen down there before. It's the re-entry, though, that worries us, that I suppose, as you get a bit more experience. Have a look at Michael Coulter as he comes around, and Terps Tipper's entry. That was good for him to observe what was going on, you know, and react to that very quickly.
But it cost him a place as well, because Danny Reedy got 2 for 1 in a Danny Orr earth-moving Chevy Camaro, so he goes up in a 12th position now. Helped him as Crutcher thought about the move here on Graham Cheney. So hopefully they've crossed fingers and toes and anything down here they can cross in the number 4 pit, that they've sorted the dramas out. Feels like it. He's inside the top 7 and moving forward. Here comes Gomersall, closing in on the race leader once again. Looked like he was fading, but maybe he's had a chance to regroup.
The car really sliding around at the moment for Gomersall, though. He is overdriving this car as the back end wants to step out and overtake the front. Really have to be on your guard so you can catch that when the car wants to slide. You don't want it to go too far and spin out. Let's have a look as they get hard on brakes here into 7. Pulls that car up. You can hear those tyres really starting to protest, can't you, under braking?
You can hear the squealings almost Hoosier-like from back in 2024. On the final lap here at Winton Motor Raceway, another race to follow later today as part of this Hi-Tec Oil Super Series in 2025. 2 youngsters have been trading laps all weekend long. Gomersall, who backs the car in at 10. Is he going to straighten that car up on the exit? Gardner would have sensed this, and that has blown the race apart now. It's going to be Jared Hughes, as long as he presses that middle pedal with a lot of energy, and does that. The young star who scored pole yesterday in back-to-back victories is going to keep it going on Sunday. Webster on the tail of Gardner. But to the line, it's another win. Jared Hughes scores race 3 in TFH Hire TA2 muscle cars presented by Maritimo in 25. And Webster slowed, and he lost the position to Thomas. We saw it from the in-car camera. So what happened to the 200? He was on Gardner's tail. Cost him the position. And Thomas gets a top 5 result. Yeah, only they can tell us. Hopefully we'll find that between the races. Well done to Jared Hughes. Stamped his authority. Maximum points so far this weekend from Gomersall. Gardner, Josh Thomas, who got 4th at the line over Webster. Cheney, who win the Masters class once again. Mark Crutcher, Domain Ramsey, Diesel Thomas and Des Collier will finish in 10th position today. Robbie Farr and Danny Reedy, great mates, finished in 11th and 12th position with Cameron Laws 13th, Michael Coulter in 14th, Gareth Avatakis in 15th position with Paul Hadley, Hayden Jackson, James Simpson and Mark Bailey. DNFs here today. They're the hard luck stories of this weekend, aren't they? Another victory and plenty of smiles from our race winner, Jared Hughes, down the DeWalt victory lane. Let's go to J-Mac.
Brad Gardner with a rabbit out of the hat. A fantastic run out there for the Hi-Tec Oils Camaro. How did everything shape up for you?
Yeah, finally I feel like we're back where we're supposed to be. If you had told me I was that close to these guys in P3 this time yesterday, I'd be telling you joking. So, no, it's those boys are fast up front, but I feel like we're getting somewhere. So, yeah, thanks to Max, Joel, Hi-Tec Oils, Aaron from Allstars Motorsport for putting the car together, and all my local guys, mum and dad back home. It's been a hard couple of fortnights, lost my pa, so keen to, do this one for him and, one more.
Well, let's get ready for the next one.
Cheers, guys.
P2, Ben Gomersall, you started pole with a terrific lap, but couldn't quite win that one.
Yeah, we didn't quite get the jump off the start. Jared did a good move around the outside. I feel like our race pace was pretty solid the whole race. You know, we stuck with him, so all in all, we're getting there every race.
I saw the front of your car sliding as you came out of turn 2, and I thought, oh my.
Yeah, off the start there, it was a little bit hairy. Needed to make sure I left Jared room, but no, it was good hard racing.
You were wringing its neck at the end there, weren't you?
Yeah, I was trying everything I could to get him. Unfortunately, just had a little bit too much pace, so we'll try in the next race.
Great drive.
Let's get ready. Jared Hughes, it was a very authoritative start. You were able to get the elbows up, get around Gomersall on the run into turn 1. Fantastic way to finish race 3.
Yeah, it's good. Good to get the lead on the start of the race. Benny had a good start and just able to hang around the outside, but it was just a bit of a tyre management and heat management game from there. Just trying to keep the tyres under us and keep the head straight. So it was a good race for us. Hopefully we've got enough tyres left for the final one today.
Those safety car periods, do they play into your hands as far as your tyre management?
Yeah, they do, obviously. Rev it. You get a bit of a break to let the tyres cool down, and I can't hear myself think.
A fantastic race, well done.
Thank you.
Can he make it 4 from 4? We'll find out later today in a TFH Hire TA2 muscle cars presented by Maritimo. Jared Hughes, though, Matt Kavanagh will start from pole one more time here at Winton.
Yeah, and they'll reignite this battle between him and Ben Gomersall, who's in second. Brad Gardner, can he get in on that little parade? And he's starting out of 3 with Josh Thomas alongside. Then it's Josh Webster and Graham Cheney on the 3rd row of the group between Domain Ramsey and Diesel Tom on the 4th row. And Des Collier and Robbie Farr will round out our top 10 before we go back to Mark Crutcher, who took a little bit of a post-race penalty there with Danny Reedy alongside. Michael Coulter and Chiara Zavaticus will be on the 7th row of the group with Paul Hadley and Cameron Laws behind them. Hayden Jackson, James Simpson and Mark Bailey, will they make it out on the grid? That is the biggest question. I don't think we're going to see Hayden Jackson come out in this one in the 81.
No, he's definitely done for the weekend, which is a shame. It's Des Collier. It's just, if he can get qualifying right, Des Collier is going to be unstoppable. He's charged through the field on more than one occasion in the TFH Cup. As around they come in the rows of 2. Gardner in the Hi-Tec Oil Chevy Camaro, looking at the pole sitter, Jared Hughes. Ben Gomersall, well, if he's going to make it happen, it needs to be now. The charge to turn number 1 as the lights go out here at Winton Motor Raceway. The TFH Hire TA2 Muscle Car Series presented by Maritimo. The final one is underway. Watch Gardner put the nose on the inside and almost has it bitten off. Cars going everywhere in the background as the field make their way up into turn number 2. There's dust and debris going everywhere, and it's Josh Thomas who went off the track.
And Graham Cheney too, that was squeezed. Cheney got sandwiched in there. He took a big dive down the middle, didn't he, on the start, and nowhere 3 cars wide. It's not that big a track here at Winton Motor Raceway into turn 1.
2 is hard enough getting through turn 2, let alone 3 or 4. Up at turn 7 though, the leading group of Hughes, Gomersall and Gardner. Gardner thought about it, didn't he? Gave it a really serious consideration on the inside of the 35 at turn 1, but had to settle for 3rd with Webster in 4th position in the Auto-Fix Ford Mustang. Then it's Diesel Thomas in 5th position. An outstanding run for the rookie in car number 18. Domain Ramsey is 6th position today. Great to see in the C&H Trucking Chevy Camaro. Behind him is Robbie Farr, Des Collier, Danny Reedy and Mark Crutcher. That did change up some of those positions that first corner skirmish.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Graham Cheney, who's been on the back end of a couple of little hits this weekend that have forced him a little bit further back. I did see him coming out of 6th position at the start of this race and knew that potentially he could make an impact, probably behind the top 3, really, where we've seen the speed come out of him, even the top 4, because Webster, we saw how close he was to Gardner at the end of the last race. I would love to know what the tyre bank was coming into this one and who's got the best rubber.
We'll find out soon. Oh, Hughes, that was his first mistake, I would say, for the weekend. That car came in hot. You could hear the Goodyear tyres chirping, begging for mercy. So look at a replay at the start here. So that was Cheney making it 3 wide in the centre. He's about to get squeezed. And car-on-car contact saw Thomas to the infield. The Cheney car, the IES Motorsport, looping to the left-hand side. Here it is for the TFH Mustang.
On board with Josh Thomas as he turns in. There's a car along, there's 2 cars alongside him, Webster on the inside. Cheney had nowhere to go. And look at the dirt as it just comes over the front window. We saw him drag that all over the track, and they're going to have to watch out for that in the coming laps. And as he off the track again, that looks like the 169, yeah. Josh Thomas had more excursions off onto the dirt this weekend than he would at a Speedway meet.
I didn't know we had a super special stage planned for race number 4, but nothing surprises me these days. So he's back down the field in 18th position behind Chiara Sabatakis and Michael Coulter just ahead. This is Cameron Laws with Mark Bailey just behind the Jack's Tyre and Auto Service. Number 12 Chevy Camaro. Oh, damage, big damage to Sabatakis. Bonnet is up over the windscreen.
Yeah, very hard to try and get that car back as well. You wouldn't be much vision out of there, just trying to look out the side and follow the track around, but that's probably going to be a retirement from that car. Maybe they can try and pull something out and tape it together. It will not help when it comes to trying getting up positions, but potentially get out there and get a few more points. Let's have a look at a replay of what's happened.
Contact with the 169, so that's how it all started. We came back when the 169 was leaving the scene, and Michael Coulter doing the friendly-like thing and making sure his friends are okay up there in car number 11, back in 16th position. So damage to him, and Gomersall coming in hot now in the unit racing car. The Ford Mustang. You know, some pretty evil handling cars out there in the early stages, and there's still 20 minutes of racing to come.
And this is where we haven't seen this brand new tyre at the end of a race meet. They've done lots of testing on these things, lots of laps, but it's when you come under race conditions, you've got 6 tyres that you have to get through for the weekend. And what are you going to do in qualifying? When they go and test them, how often are they doing qualifying laps like we've seen them do here this weekend? And now we've had a 35-degree day yesterday. Today hasn't been much cooler than that. And have a look at the damage, though, on Chiara's car. That's extensive, and I doubt we're going to see that one come back out.
But well done to get that car back, blinded by that bonnet. So she's got that car back into the lane, and we keep the race green with no safety car. A forgetful day for Josh Thomas. He's gone back into the pits, no doubt with front damage. I wouldn't be surprised if the radiator's crying enough for one weekend. So what was promising to be a good weekend for the 169 has ended up back in pit lane. Meantime, Crutcher and Danny Reedy, 4 on the 5, and Cameron Laws wants a piece of the action too in car 29. Oh, they climb over each other through the middle of the turn. They're strong cars, they're very robust, but I hope that wasn't tyres being connected down there, and they cut one of these down. Doing all sorts of bother. Down through turn 2 they go, and towards the turn 5 sweeper. So round turn number 7 they go. Let's go to pit lane. Here's Mel.
So Josh Thomas, a very, very dirty, busted up number 169. What happened then?
Yeah, a bit unfortunate. I got caught up in I got pushed off the track at turn 1, lap 1. So yeah, ended up right at the rear of the field from that, and then was coming back through and went in under brakes at turn 3, and yeah, something just let go. Must have been from coming off, and just threw the car sideways, and unfortunately, yeah, got into Michael, and then obviously Chiara followed up. So bit of an unfortunate end, but hey, it is what it is. That's racing.
You've had a little bit of an on-road, off-road kind of a weekend, haven't you?
Yeah, I have, honestly, and it's such a shame because I feel like I finally had a good car. Like even when I was coming back through, it felt okay, and then yeah, it just let go. So.
Well, you've been super fast, so that's good, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you. Cheers.
And the 169's day and weekend is done for Josh Thomas. It certainly showed the car has got pace. But watching on from pit lane with 15.5 minutes remaining, Meantime, the mid-pack scramble, as we like to call this one now, with Ramsey, Crutcher, Laws and Collier, who makes the move down the inside of the rookie. Oh, he's taken a big bite of the curb, and that'll send him across the other side and back behind the 29. He might just lose another one, because here comes Mark Bailey in a number 12 Chevy Camaro. Crutcher on Ramsey and goes around.
Oh, that's not what he wants after the day he's had as well. Robbie Farr, a bit early in that, just got past the main Ramsey, so he's starting to open up a little bit of a gap too. Look at that Crutcher though, returns to the race. He's only lost a few positions. Let's have a look at this one though. Des Collier come in hot into turn one, didn't he? Just couldn't quite pull the car up. You see Cameron Laws will just get that position back. Now this is Crutcher down the inside of turn number 3 on Domain Ramsey. Well, there's been a couple of panels coming together there. I don't think there's anything too much in that one, unfortunately, pushing him back a few positions there. And now his teammate Graham Cheney not too far behind the IES Motorsport machine.
Gardner making his Hi-Tec oil Chevy Camaro as wide as possible, the South Australian, who runs in 3rd position.
I think you'd almost call this his home track, though. He does a lot of the Winton 300s here and other sports. HQ racing as well. I know he's come down and done a little bit of that here at Winton Motor Raceway. We see a little bit of tyre smoke there. Might have just grabbed a break there for the Gardner 22 machine. He's going to have to watch out. Webster was looking very, very quick at the end of the last race. Probably a lucky moment there with gearbox issues. You see him starting to streak away now, Gardner. Got a good run out of that final corner. Looking strong through this section. Needs to keep it clean, not too much curb. That ominous tyre barrier on the outside as you come out of turn number 2. And have a look in the background. Diesel Thomas, the rookie when it comes to the TA2 muscle car racing, is just looming in the background in the 18, the number 5 position. Hasn't gone all his way this weekend. He's had to fight it hard. He's had that moment off the start a couple of races ago where he had to go out on the dirt and he took a massive bump through there and really hurt the car, but fighting his way back. Brett Gardner, you can see the car just getting very, very loose now. I think those tyres are probably not as good as what they were at the start of this weekend.
No, they'll be looking for a holiday at the end of today's race.
We just can't take our eyes off this battle for 3rd position at the moment. Got 2 4th places yesterday. Brett Gardner managed to get that 3rd in the earlier race today. Definitely been finding some pace on these new tyres this weekend. It's a brand new chassis under the car. Basically only took the gearbox and motor out of what was basically a wreck after the Adelaide race last year, the Adelaide 500, and rebuilt this car. And I suppose drivers come in and if the car doesn't quite feel right on a new tyre, they could blame the chassis setup and things like that. So they just need to feel comfortable in the car. Hasn't done a lot of laps either as well in the off-season. Been quite quiet on the racing front for Brad Gardner. We're great to see him as part of the Hi-Tec Oils team as well down there. The Hi-Tec Racing really put their foot in it, haven't they, since mid last year, where they had Brad at the start of the year. Now they've got Robbie Farr on board as well. So really growing there, George Gambino and the crew to build a race team.
Both Gardner and Tim Brook, I think, took the most that impact at Adelaide. There was no less than 6 cars caught up that day. It was Brook broke the engine, which caused it to begin with, but ended up in the wall, then hit by several cars at the penultimate turn of the Adelaide Street Circuit in November. So Webster trying to force the issue now on Gardner, but it's bringing Diesel Thomas into the party of 3. As they wrap their way around the Gumtree at Winton Motor Raceway. While Hughes has 4 seconds back to Gomersall. These cars covered by less than a second. Winton Motor Raceway and day number 2, the Hi-Tec Oils Super Series. The season opener for 2025, first of our 2 stops at this Benalla venue. Hughes and Gomersall, well, that's set the way it is now. They can't be beaten first or second, but 3rd is certainly up for grabs. Diesel Thomas likely to wrap up the rookie honours, and well-deserved. Quick in both qualifying sessions. And Danny Reedy off the track in the same spot as yesterday, and a fair bit of dust and lawn clippings in the front of the Chevy Camaro. Hopefully that won't hinder the engine temperatures, certainly not as much as what there was in Robbie Farr's car yesterday, where it spiked to somewhere in the 170 degree range. These cars are quite happy between 110 and 120, but once they start getting up to that, they don't tend to like those conditions.
I don't think there's a radiator left in the race truck either at the moment. They've all been used as we have a look at a replay of Danny Reedy. No one around. He might have gone a little bit deep into turn number 1. Hard under brakes in there as well if you miss your braking markers. He hasn't gone through the big ditch though.
No.
He's been watching.
And polite enough not to take the signs out as well. And it's very nice how sign makers will be going, thanks, Danny. Less work for them to do. They got wiped out completely yesterday down there during one of the races.
Now, what point do you think with Webster there behind, the temperatures in that car surely aren't optimal being behind Brad Gardner for this long, because you haven't seen him pull out, take any fresh air from the brakes or anything like that. So that car's got to start to be warming up. It's got to be playing on the tyres, as we're now 15 minutes into this race already. And Brad Gardner, he's not making it easy for Webster to get by. But where is the point of the track where Webster can make this assault? Where can he take a lunge and try and pull this off? Because right now he's looking in the mirrors. He's got Diesel Thomas right behind him.
Yeah, he's going to be careful. Throwing the car up the inside here at 7's been his favourite place. But Gardner's a wake up to it now. He pinches the brake, door is open. And just as he say that, Gardner pinches the brake, and that allows Webster to make the move. Gardner trying to hang on for dear life on the inside of the gum tree. Now it's come to life. The mistake was forced. Gardner was watching to see what Webster would do. He knows he puts the car up there on more than one occasion, and now puts Webster up into position 3 and gets himself onto the podium with that move.
Let's have another look at this overtake. You're right, Brad Gardner being a little bit defensive, grabs a brake, unfortunately locks the front tyre up. Webster goes through, almost lets Diesel Thomas into the mix here. He's not going to give it away too easily there. If he could have put the nose in, I think he would have got up the inside, Brad Gardner. But without that drive, that moment you've had, you just don't have the pace. Now have a look at Diesel Thomas. He is now covering the windows of the Hi-Tec Oils 22.
Can he hold him back? I wonder if he's hurt that tyre enough with that lock-up. It was significant at turn 7, but it's let Webster off the hook. After that position earlier today, it was costly. I mean, he only lost one spot, that gearbox drama at the finish line, but he had to work super hard to get himself back onto the podium.
I wonder how damaged that tyre is. Does it feel like he's running over a ripple strip all the time now?
Exactly.
Big flat spot on that tyre for sure.
And be mindful of the fact that if he cut a tyre down yesterday in that race, he'll be thinking about that now. Up to turn 7. Still comes in hot and gets a knock. One knock from Diesel Thomas. And I'm starting to think he's in some tyre dramas here now, because look how quickly Webster's got away from him. Coming out of turn number 9. From the drone cam down this short straight towards turn number 10. Just over 2.5 minutes. Hughes and Gomersall, 3 seconds is the margin, but they're 14 seconds up the road from this battle.
Great fight back from Diesel Thomas after an eventful first day of racing. You can see there they've already had the front guard on that car, been through 2 radiators. Coming into the TA2 Muscle Car Series for the first time as well. Very different, I suppose, to driving the RX-8 where we've seen him before.
There was a yellow, there's a car off the track there on the right-hand side, or was there a small fire maybe? I saw the yellow flashing on one of those panels at the exit of the final turn. That's just a local yellow, so we'll keep the race moving. Dust in the background as well. Got to say big thanks to our volunteers this weekend. It's been incredibly warm conditions. Most are in fireproof suits, so whatever it is outside, you can add another 20 degrees on how they're feeling right now. The guys and girls who've helped out manning the Winton Motor Raceway course, whether it's a flag marshalling point or at the gates around or pit marshalling, we say a big thank you for your help at Winton Motor Raceway in 2025.
It almost looks like Diesel Thomas has just backed off a fraction here at the moment. Brad Gardner, I don't think there's anything left in that car. That is absolutely pushed to the maximum of that setup. Wherever they found it, they haven't quite found as much pace as what we've seen from the top 3, but we know Brad Gardner is tenacious when he wants to be out there. He really throws the car around, and for him to be a little bit back there, just still trying to find their groove at the moment. Unfortunately, with the rebirth of that car, they weren't able to get any testing in on the new tyre prior to coming here to Winton. So Friday was test day for them. They've done a fantastic job just to get it on one podium, I think, and still currently holding out for 4th. Domain Ramsey's got Laws, Collier and Bailey right behind him at the moment. And that's 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th.
And he's got damage on the front right too of the CNH truck. Oh, change at the front. So it's on. There must have been a mistake because that was 3 seconds a moment ago. And Gomersall goes to the lead. So was there a mistake from Hughes? It was 3 seconds when we last looked at the timing screen. And Gomersall goes to the lead in the final minute of this race. What did we just say? Don't take your eyes off it.
Have a look at the speed he's got too. It's like we've let him off the leash at the moment. Gomersall already opened up 0.3 of a second on Hughes, and you think their tyres are just done at the moment. They are protesting. They'll be cheering as they go across the finish line shortly, just saying, yes, my weekend is done. Well, for two of you, you've got to back it up for the next round. You've got to take two in there.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, I'd like to know how this all played out. But nonetheless, the unit racing car that's prepared by TFH Racing heading down the back straight. A game-changing moment in the closing minutes of the race. Closing minute of the race, we should say. He's waited all weekend long. Hi-Tec Oil's replay showing us. And coming up the short straight here, just caught him. But how did the 3 seconds disappear that quick? Is Hughes in trouble, maybe?
We saw that slight oil leak from his gearbox earlier in the weekend. There's little puffs of smoke yesterday and was just a seal. But, you know, sometimes linkages in these cars and everything. Look at him sliding the car around.
And he's cruising. I wonder if he's stuck in gear.
Yeah, we have seen it when they jam linkages in these gearboxes as well. It seems very much like that.
The final lap of the race, and he needs to limp that car around. Lucky with a 13-second margin back to Webster, who's in third position. But for Ben Gomersall, pole position earlier today has got him to the race lead. This car is limping around on the final lap. For Jared Hughes, and what was looking to be 4 straight victories, it's not going to happen. Gomersall with a handful of turns, and Webster off. A podium position goes, and the Auto-Fix Ford Mustang off the track and out of the race.
Brad Gardner, as he pulled a rabbit out of the hat, the magic man will get back on the podium.
He's done that now. There's got to be more. Just when I thought the race was closing down, we were ready to say, podium set, it's not. And Gomersall has 1 turn remaining on what's been a fairy tale weekend. Pole position earlier today and heading towards the line. Claps and applause from the pit wall. And Ben Gomersall got it done in the final minute. Hughes is going to cruise to second position and win the round for the weekend.
Diesel Thomas, oh no, slides the car out. I thought he might have had one last lunge on Brad Gardner, but he slid the car out in the second last corner. And have a look at this, Brad Gardner, wow, the magic kid himself will get into third position. Diesel Thomas in fourth. Now Robbie Farr, what a finish it would be for him in the 5.
Yep.
Yes, the Hi-Tec Oils racing team having a fantastic comeback this weekend, and Robbie Farr will be elated to have that finish.
Oh, I think Laws, no, he didn't get Ramsey. It was only 900ths at the line. Great weekend for the Hi-Tec team. Hard luck for this young guy. In the Auto-Fix Ford Mustang, he got the curb and just lost control when he was in a podium position. Skates off the track, parks it in the bunker, and had to watch the field drive on by. What a finish to the weekend here at Winton Motor Raceway. Gomersall wins the final race, but Hughes wins the battle in the first round of TFH High TA2 muscle cars thanks to Maritimo. Oh man, it's going to be a year. Gardner home for third, Diesel Thomas fourth. He'll be the rookie of the weekend. Robbie Farr's best result in fifth. Then Domain Ramsey, that'll be his best as well with Cam Laws. Des Collier behind there and Mark Bailey in ninth. Graham Cheney in 10th position. And that'll give Farr the Masters class honours as well for today for the over 45-year-olds. Oh, this is unreal. Just when you thought it was set, Hughes lost that 3-second advantage. Gomersall got the win. Webster went off the track on the final lap. Good luck cutting the highlights package on this.
Down here after an incredible conclusion to today's racing. Of course, we have to say a massive thank you. Tony Sewell from AC Delco presenting our event trophies. Brad Gardner wrapping up third place. There was a moment there where you must have thought it all vanished before your eyes before you were able to pluck it back. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. No, I definitely didn't have it. Probably not me or the car, just yeah, more so me. But thanks for the boys, they've done a great job. But yeah, we definitely got lucky there. So it's about time I have some luck on my side. So yeah, thanks for everyone. Thanks Hi-Tec Oils, Taylor, George, Raph, Timmy, Aaron for building the car, and just yeah, Joel and Max for getting me here. So yeah,
well done.
Cheers, guys.
So our second place round trophy presented again by Tony Sewell from AC Dalco to Ben Gomersall. Congratulations, and you've had your first race win on your first weekend in the category. That's incredible.
Yeah, no, the unit racing Mustang's been mega all weekend. Like, rolled out of the gate pretty strongly, and we've been slowly chipping away at it. So, no, I'm really happy where we've ended up, and it's awesome to come home and take the win.
We were sitting there watching, and it was right near the end of the race, and we couldn't believe our eyes.
Yeah, unfortunately what happened to Jared there. He's been the quickest car all weekend, hands down. So not sure what happened, but unfortunate for him. But we're in a good position, close enough that we could actually capitalise on it.
And proud dad smiling on over there.
Yeah, no, he's been my biggest supporter since day one, so I can't thank him enough for everything.
Fantastic weekend, great job.
Thank you.
We are working him hard. Tony Sewell again presenting our winner's trophy for the event to Jared Hughes, coming home in the final race in P2, but taking out the round. What went through your head?
A lot was going through my head at the end there. No, we were in a really good position, saved tyres all weekend, and we're able to give it some jandle in that first part of the race, and we're looking pretty good. And then I came down the straight with a couple laps to go, and the whole car started going left and right. So I think we broke something in the front right suspension, which sucks. It would have been a clean sweep, but that's all right. Still awesome to come away with this. The boys have done an awesome job, and yeah, just unreal. Pretty cool.
Congratulations, mate.
Hey, thanks, mate.
Well, next, the Hi-Tec Oil Super Series heads to Sydney Motorsport Park, the 30th of May to the 1st of June. So the end of May, we head over there. Here is our calendar for 2025. We've got 2 rounds at Queensland Raceway to follow that rounds 3 and 4. Round 5, back to South Australia, somewhere where the Hi-Tec Oil Super Series hasn't been. Malala Motorsport Park, and then we finish it off at Winton Motor Raceway, October 31 to November 2. It was very hot this weekend. It's going to cool down by then. Can't wait to see you at Sydney Motorsport Park for round 2 of the Hi-Tec Oils Super Series.